Hey guys, Becky with Design Bundles here, and today I'm super excited to give you my comparison of the Cameo 4 and the Portrait 3. Now this is definitely a close call, so if you are on the fence, this review is for you. Alright guys, so here is our head-to-head face-off. We have our lovely Cameo 4 and our super sweet and cute Portrait 3. Now I just want to start off by saying that you really can't go wrong. I assume that you're here because you're trying to decide between one of the two machines. So first of all, congratulations on deciding to go with Silhouette. They are very wonderful machines, and the great news is it's even more wonderful software, and that's what you get to take advantage of with either machine. All right. Now, any project you have ever seen me complete on this channel, or really most projects that I've ever completed in my life, I could complete with either one of these machines. The biggest difference that you're going to find is the cutting size, and there are a lot of ways that you can adapt most projects from a Cameo size to a portrait size, okay? Now, while we're talking about size, let's go ahead and say this beauty is large and in charge. Now, of course, not as large as some of the other Cameo 4s, right? So if wide format is your thing, check out some of the other Cameo 4s. But let's circle back around. So we get a full 12-inch cutting area here. Now it is 12 inches by way longer than you'll ever need, right? The same is said for the portrait as far as being lengthwise, but you're only going to get 8 inches. Now, what does that mean in terms of projects? That means that certain files, if you are cutting them larger than 8 inches, you might just need to break that into 2 and cut it and line it up, all right? I know for a beginner that probably sounds intimidating, but it is not, in my opinion, as hard as it seems to be, okay? I'll do a video on that for you guys coming up soon. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the great features that you're going to get with both of these. They are both Bluetooth compatible. They both have the sometimes amazing auto blade, right? They can also both take the ratchet blade in case you are not an auto blade enthusiast. Now they can both do print and cut. Like I said, you get the great software that comes with these. You also can cut most materials, all right? Now we know that the Cameo 4 comes with a whole new set of tools, such as the rotary blade and the knife blade, and those can only be used in the Cameo 4. But other than that, really, most things that you need to cut, you can do with the portrait. HTV, vinyl, paper, cardstock, print and cut, printable labels, bonded fabric. So there's a whole wide range of materials. Most materials that you're going to cut, you can do with the Portrait 3. You also still have the ability to use certain third-party tools. All right, we won't get too in-depth to those, but they do include engraving tools and certain aftermarket blades. So definitely a lot of things that you can do with the Portrait. Now let's talk about who is the Portrait for. All right, the Portrait is going to be for anybody that is needing the compact size. All right, if you travel, if you live in a small space, all right, this is right up your alley. It's not too small in functionality, but it definitely has a much smaller front footprint if you are comparing the two of these, right? Now, it's also really good if budget is a concern. You're looking at, right now, the Cameo 3, the Cameo 4 and the Portrait 3, there's about an $80 difference. This is brand new, so it has not seen any price decreases so far. $199, $279. To a lot of people, that can be a big deal. Imagine all the vinyl that you could buy for that extra $80, okay? So I'm just throwing it out there. Now, if budget is not an issue and space is not an issue, then hey, go ahead and get the Cameo 4 because you will love it, and it does come with some extra features. So let's talk about some of those differences. You do have a rather large difference in cutting depth. You're looking at 3mm, where you on the Portrait 3 are still limited to 2mm. Now, I'll be honest with you, there are not a lot of things that you're going to cut or need to accommodate that are going to be 3mm in size. All right, that's going to be, think of something that is 1/8 of an inch, whether it's a piece of acrylic or wood or something like that, okay? It's just not gonna be very common that there's a project you're doing with your machine that you need to put that whole piece in here, right? Also the cutting force. Now when the Cameo 4 rolled out, they rolled it out with a very significant increase in the cutting force. You're not gonna get that with the Portrait 3. And that's okay, because really, unless you are cutting those thicker materials, you don't need that much cutting force, okay? For all of your basic materials, HTV, vinyl, cardstock, that sort of thing, the cutting force on the Portrait 3 will be just fine. Now the dual carriage holder. You can check these out. We have one blade holder, whereas over here we have 2. Now, I'll be honest with you, again, not a lot of projects where that is gonna make a big difference, okay? I'm not saying you'll never use tool 2, but so far, whether I had my Cameo 3 or my Cameo 4, even the Curio, it was the first one to come out with a dual blade holder. And other than experimenting with it, it wasn't a practical thing. I did not do a lot of switching back and forth or multitasking in the same project where I needed the functionality of 2 different blade holders, okay? And the roll feeder. All right, so obviously you can get a roll feeder that comes with a built-in roll feeder, but even the Cameo 3, you could get a roll feeder and attach it to the front, right? On the portrait size machines, you're not gonna have a roll feeder. Now, that's not such a big deal because really, it's gonna be a little bit more rare that you're going to find an 8-inch roll to accommodate your Portrait 3. So let's go ahead and talk about that. I know we talked about the fact that you were limited in cutting size, but you were also limited in, we'll say, availability of 8-inch material. Doesn't mean it's not out there. There are vendors that I've seen cutting 8-inch sheets of vinyl. But unless you shop with those vendors or unless they have what you need, okay, sometimes you're looking for something, might be harder to find, it's only gonna come in a 12-inch, or you want a roll and it's gonna come in a 12-inch. You will have to cut those down yourself. And that can be kind of a pain. If you're talking about working with a roll of vinyl, then you're actually talking about breaking out a saw or sheeting it down, either way. What I used to do when we only had the Portrait, I would still buy 12-inch rolls, but then I would roll it out long ways and I would use my paper trimmer and trim off 12-inch pieces so that I had 8 by 12-inch availability and still had the price discounting that comes with buying in a roll by bulk. All right, you're not always gonna find that. A lot of HTV comes in 12 by 15. So you're either going to cut it down to 8 inches and you'll have that scrap left over, or you'll cut the sheet in half and limit yourself to still having that scrap part or having 2 halves that are 7.5 inches wide. Okay, so again, doesn't mean that it can't be done, but just know that although we can adapt projects, we cannot adapt material without cutting them down in size. Okay, so we talked about traveling, we talked about budget. What we didn't talk about was the fact that I usually recommend the Portrait 3 to young crafters as well. I don't mean, like, oh, I just turned 20. Yes, you are young, you are a young crafter, okay? I believe that I'm still a young crafter. But what I mean is I get a lot of parents that are like, hey, my kid is really crafty and I'm not, so I don't know what to get him or her, okay? It happens to me all the time. And I always recommend the Portrait. Now, up until this year, I recommended the Portrait 2, which is not a lot of difference between the 2 and the 3. But, the 3 is brand new. So like I said, we haven't seen those price discounts. So if you are shopping for a young crafter, then I do recommend maybe checking out and see if you can find a Portrait 2. Also make sure you check the marketplace and see if you can find a gently used machine. And the reason that I say that is because anything with kids, I feel like is always a risk. Every time I buy something, whether they're 5, 15, or 25, all right, not everybody is meant to or enjoys crafting. And that's okay. I mean, we can still be friends with them. We can still love them. But the less money we invest, then the less it kind of hurts our feelings when it doesn't work out, right? This can also be useful for people who are on the fence. You're like, Becky, I just don't know if this is going to be for me. That's okay. That's okay. Start with the Portrait, Okay, if you have serious issues with not being able to cut larger projects, which really you shouldn't, but if you do, then you can sell your machine and upgrade. There will always be a market. Silhouette makes a solid machine. Okay, there will always be a market, especially as long as you keep it in pristine condition. There will always be a market for gently used machines for a lot of reasons. Budget-friendly reasons, kid crafting reasons. I mean, the list could just go on and on, okay? Now, then what that means is that you will learn using your Portrait 3. And you can decide, hey, maybe this is or isn't for me. But if it is, sell this bad boy, or don't. Nobody's gonna make you sell it, okay? Calm down. I don't sell my machines either. But you can upgrade. You can upgrade at a later date. Okay, because you've already learned the material, you have learned the software, this is just going to give you that bigger cutting area. And sometimes it just gives you that little boost if you're going from hobbyist to business. Okay, so those are all of my reasons. If you're going to ask me, again, if you should get a Portrait 3 or a Cameo 4, the biggest, I feel like, factors to ask yourself are, is budget important to me? If it is, stick with the less expensive machine. And then also, do I need the compact size? All right. If size matters, then I need a smaller machine. I'm going to go with the Portrait 3. It travels well. It's really cute. You can tuck it away. And you know, I love cute machines. I'm a sucker for a cute cutting machine. So, all right, guys, let's do our wrap up. All right, guys, here we are. Head to head, what did you think? I'm not gonna lie, the Portrait 3 really has a lot of great features that are still in the Cameo 4, but at a more compact size, all right? That makes it a very powerful cutting machine, makes it a more powerful starting machine, makes it great for crafters who need to travel or just need that smaller footprint. It's a really great machine. Now, you guys know I love my Cameo 4. It's an even better great machine, okay? So there's not a wrong answer here. It just boils down to the budget and it boils down to the footprint. So, all right, guys, you have to let me know what you think. If you're on the fence, let me know which way you go. If you've already bought one, let me know why you chose the one that you did. I'm always anxious to hear from you guys, and I love sharing in your experiences. So again, if you have any questions, you can always leave those below. Questions, comments, video requests, that's a big one. If you have video requests, make sure you leave those below also. And hey, maybe you need to share this with a friend. Maybe somebody is hoping to be on Santa's nice list this year, and you need to drop a little hint about what you want for Christmas. Share the video. I mean, it does not get any hintier than that, all right? All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it, and we will see you again next time.